My name is Will Bowles, and I'm an account lead on our Publisher Solutions team based out of Chicago. I have been on the team for just shy of 5.5 years now. Previously, before I moved into this role earlier this year, my responsibilities included digital media planning and buying for our managed service clients. So I'm going to be coming to you today with some DSP overview, kind of going over things to be looking for as we kick off 2022. All right, so first things first, when it comes to any sort of programmatic campaign in the DSP, the most important thing to be looking for outside of like making sure you have the right flight dates and budget is actually identifying campaign goals. So in my, when I was actually a buyer, again, I can't stress how important this is to make sure that the campaign goal is identified, agreed upon when the IO is submitted. So that can be a little challenging when you're having the discovery or pitch meetings with an advertiser, because a lot of times they might not necessarily know exactly what they mean when they are talking about a campaign goal. So your job when you're actually speaking with them is to be a consultant and really listen to what they're saying and kind of go from there. So for example, if they're talking about a new location or something like that, you can kind of shift them towards the brand awareness goal. If it's something like they have a new website or they want to promote or drive people to their website, that's when you would start thinking site traffic. And then lastly, if they're looking for sales or signups on their website, you look towards something like user action. So once you can kind of agree upon an objective, that's when you can move down the funnel and think of a specific goal. And this is also important because if they're looking for something that might not be attainable, this allows for your buyer to kind of say, hey, look, I think we need to focus on something a little more specific or focus on a number that's more, more realistic instead of going for something just completely out of control. So making sure that you have a specific goal or metric for your buyer to optimize towards is crucial when, you look at campaign reporting and you can actually point towards overachieving towards that campaign goal. Next is making sure that that goal is measurable. Oftentimes when you look at placements like audio or connected TV, you're not going to want a site traffic campaign to be one of those formats because you can't measure clicks from a connected TV device to a website. Same thing with audio. Oftentimes the audio ads might not feature a companion banner, so you might not be able to really even measure clicks from one of those formats. So making sure that the campaign goal aligns with a measurable metric is crucial. And then lastly, this one is very important, but just making sure that the campaign goal is determined before launch. It's huge to make sure that everyone's on the same page. The last thing your buyer wants to hear halfway through the campaign is hearing that the goal shifted or that they had a different goal in mind. Because your buyer is making these optimizations towards that goal that was decided when the campaign launched, and they're shifting budget towards the tactics, that are best performing towards that goal. So when it comes towards shifting budget towards that tactic, flexibility in a media plan is going to lead to stronger results than just running 4 tactics without optimizing budget. So I'm sure you've seen this slide on one of the basis webinars before, but it really is so important and it's crucial to the success of a campaign. Looking at these 4 tactics, let's use an example of site traffic. So say we have a campaign goal of CTR and the actual number or the metric we're looking to hit is 0.20%. You look at, let's say for this example, run a network, contextual, and retargeting are all performing with the CTR of between 0.25 and 0.30 after 2 or 3 weeks of data, and audience is lower at around 0.08 or something like that. Your buyer is going to take a look and say, all right, we need to shift budget towards the 3 tactics that are performing over our KPI, because we know that is what is working. Sometimes your advertiser might push back and say, well, I still want to reach the audience we're targeting of ages 25 to 40. That's where you need to say, well, we agreed upon this goal before launching the campaign. We know that the contextual tactic is our best performer. we're going to shift budget here because it's driving people to your website better than your audience tactic is. So giving your buyer the flexibility to shift budget towards the tactics that are working and driving success is crucial towards securing renewals once the campaign is wrapped up. All right, so moving along to the devices and formats, ad formats that are available in the DSP. A lot of this may be review, but I do think it's important to, again, go over this at the end of the year. First being native. The native ad format it's an awesome driver of clicks. So for any site traffic campaign, I would always recommend including a native ad. The reason being is that the ad actually dynamically matches the look and feel of the site that it's running on. So it's great for kind of breaking through like ad fatigue or clutter as the ad stands out in a way that it looks like it belongs on the page. Next is display. So again, nothing new here, but your standard banners and rich media ad format. Video, again, traditional and CTV placements. You also have pre, mid, or post roll, plus in banner, in feed, and interstitial ads. And then lastly, audio. This has definitely been a big area of growth. We're seeing a ton of audio campaigns in the DSP this year and even going back to last year. But audio placements include satellite radio, streaming music services, and of course, everyone's favorite podcasts. So all of that inventory lives in the DSP as well. And then devices. So again, mobile devices, desktop devices, tablet devices, connected TV devices are all able to be targeted in the DSP. All right, so looking at some targeting options in the DSP. First one here is contextual. This allows us to reach an audience based on the context of the web page actually being consumed. So if I'm on a site like, say, Yahoo, and I'm reading about the NFL, we would know that I'm reading a page about sports or football, whatever it may be, which allows us, again, to target a reader based on the content that they're consuming and not necessarily the site that they're on. Great to serve a relevant ad to someone based on what they're looking at. This contextual targeting is available across all 4 devices and for display, video, and native ad formats. Next is hyperlocal. This allows us to use latitude and longitude coordinates to target physical locations and reach audiences based on their location in real time. So for hyperlocal targeting, we're primarily looking at mobile devices, and this can be all ad formats. So audio, native, video, and display. Next, run of network. Run of network is allowing us to find performance at scale with optimization tools and KPI benchmarks. We're reaching many different sites, all being consumed within our geo. And again, this is all devices and ad formats. Next is audience targeting. What a year for audience targeting. I feel like really can't script a more up and down year. I remember just around like Christmas time last year, my parents asking me about third-party cookies. I was like, well, just sit down. How much time do you have? Thankfully, that was all pushed back a couple of years, but audience targeting allows us to target demographics or demonstrated behaviors such as intent or interest through over 40 different third-party data providers, all available in the DSP. And then lastly, retargeting. This allows us to reach users that previously had visited the client's website and is great for any sort of conversion-based campaign as it is a very valuable audience. And then lastly, private marketplace. So PMP deals available in the DSP. These are great because this is very premium inventory. This is publishers' first-party data that is only made available to a select group of buyers and is not inventory that you would ever find on the open marketplace. PMP deals can come across all ad formats and all devices available in the DSP. The great thing about this in the DSP is you can actually filter by format or inventory type when your buyer is looking for specific deals. Basis also has a media solutions team that's constantly negotiating these evergreen deals you'll find within the deal library. We can also help with custom deals. If there's something you're not seeing in here, just reach out to your team at Basis and we can help make those introductions to make sure that you're finding what you need. And that media solutions team is also curating packages based on seasons and special events. So as we get closer to like the Olympics next year, believe it or not, there's already a Winter Olympics coming up in 2022, but look for deals around events such as that, March Madness, and so on and so forth. And then lastly, how you can stand out from your competition. So this is something we're asked about very frequently, but just going over some emerging trends in digital. The first is cannabis. Definitely has been a big topic in 2021, but location-based targeting is available in terms of cannabis advertisers, as well as cannabis-specific contextual segments that live in the DSP. There are also private deals that I should have called this on the last one, but you can filter deals by cannabis accepted private marketplace deals. And then of course, just accepting of a variety of advertisers as the landscape has sort of changed for cannabis advertising over the last couple of years. It's becoming more and more accepted. Next is audio. So again, I mentioned it earlier, but streaming and podcast inventory are both available in the DSP. And this can be accessed through private deals such as Spotify's, Triton, Target Spot, TuneIn, and AdsWiz, or on the open market. However, I will say for any audio campaign, and I've said it on these webinars before, but it is crucial to have PMP deals for any sort of audio campaign, as there is tons of inventory housed in these PMP deals. And then lastly, there are cannabis accepted audio PMP deals available in the DSP. And lastly, connected TV. So this remains a huge opportunity in the digital space, but in-stream video delivered exclusively on connected TV devices. You'll also find tons of private marketplace deals for connected TV campaigns. So these can come from premium publishers, distributors, or connected devices. Again, same with audio. Definitely recommend PMP deals on a connected TV campaign because it also offers a layer of targeting that you might not find in the open marketplace. And just like audio, there are cannabis accepted CTV deals available in the DSP.
Awesome. Thank you, Will. We do have one question. If you guys have any questions, definitely, like I mentioned, feel free to put those in the question and answer box. But the question is there a list of PMP providers? Is there something we can use to show our clients where their ads will be shown?
Yeah, so some of the PMP deals, there is, if your buyer is to go into actual, like the deal itself, they can look, and some of the providers will include a site list and where the ad will run, which can be very helpful when, kind of seeing the control you might have over the deal itself.
Yeah, and I would say if you ever can't get that list or your buyer can't find it, having them reach out to their customer success manager or even reaching out to our team. The reason why we don't put a lot of those lists, not every list, I guess, up within the DSP is because they do change pretty often. So they do their best at getting the most up-to-date lists up there. But if you aren't seeing something or you want more information on the list that you're seeing in the platform, reach out to us and we can help explain kind of where things will run on the PMP you select. Hopefully that helps. Any other questions there? Awesome. All right. So if you liked Will's overview of the DSP, you can get more through Publisher Solutions resources. So that kind of dipped your toe into what's available in the DSP. But the great news is that we have a ton of resources that go deeper into everything that we talk about, the DSP and some of the devices and the targeting methods. If you have a seller or you want to give a lunch and learn to a bunch of advertisers about a certain targeting method, you can find a lot of resources that are formatted and designed for you guys to use within the resource library. And so I'm going to first start with this one. We really formatted it to be a very comprehensive seller focused resource center, specifically surrounding the DSP. So if you want to learn about what it is, how to sell it, what things to listen for with your advertisers, and like how to include it in a media plan, the resource library can be a really good place to go check that stuff out. It's also a great place for vertical based in. That's a big lot. And as we've spoken to you guys on the QBRs over the past month and a half, we've heard a lot of vertical focus stuff too. So that section of our site should be updating more frequently. And we're going to be utilizing the research that on a pretty regular basis, more often on the resource library. So you'll see this little research section. We get some pretty canned research monthly from our research team, where they'll pull information and stats from our top 10 verticals. We're going to make that, we're going to publish that and make that available to you guys. But if you need something more specific, if you're working on a really big plan, you need some research to support your media plan or to help give direction to your media plan, we are happy to help pull that stuff together. Please reach out to our team and we can help loop in our research team and see if that would, anything there can kind of zhuzh up your plan a little bit to help with the sell through. But we find research to be super helpful in not only justifying digital, but just helping to present the media plan in a more complete way. So you'll find more of that on the research or the resource library. But if you need something more specific, definitely use our team. We also send out a monthly newsletter. And this is, kind of goes along with our Rev Up webinars, where each month we kind of talk about one of the topics that we're going to cover off on the Rev Up webinar. So you'll see industry topics, you'll see vertical based topics. We also do panels every now and then, and we always try and mix in as many success stories as possible because we know those are very popular. Every quarter we do our Rev Up revenue. So you have joined us for our last one of the year, but it is a quarterly webinar on digital, the DSP, and different sales topics with advertisers. We want to help you out and give you the best information and resources that we can to help you win more dollars. So keep us on those courses. So there's quite a few, but it can be a really great place for new reps to go, reps new to selling digital, to just kind of level set and get a really good baseline on the industry. We have a few different ones: digital, media, social, program, a lot of great, easy, quick courses that your teams can take to kind of feel pretty good and again, get that level set baseline education level. So they feel really confident when they're out selling digital. So this is what we have for anyone who is a partner with me. All these resources are available to you at any time, but we also offer custom support, and the account lead team, who you can all see here minus half, she'll be back in April, want to just make sure that you guys know that we do have custom support as needed. So these support offerings are really based on what you need. We want to be here to provide custom training, whether that be hopefully more and more in person or webinar focused training sessions. We like to look at either different products, tactics, targeting methods, or look at different pieces of the sales funnel and how we can hone our skills and get a little bit better at either pre-sale or talking about reporting or working in a renewal conversation. All of these things we are happy to pull together and work with you to kind of present to your team. We also can provide some media support. So as you are media planning, if you're needing a second set of eyes on a media plan, or maybe you presented the plan and you're getting a bunch of objections and you want our opinion on how we would go back on that. We're happy with that. KPIs are a big one, kind of like Will said. It should be the first step to any good media plan, but we know that sometimes it gets left off, or sometimes it's an afterthought when we get really excited about a product or a targeting method. We may forget to kind of get that KPI conversation out of the way. So if something comes up where you need to backtrack and figure out what is a good KPI or what's a great benchmark to put on this plan, that's where we can kind of help step in and hopefully help set expectations as well. And then lastly, sales support. We are here to kind of help with either account planning, so doing those calls, kind of like Q&A calls where we can talk about active accounts or accounts that you guys are looking to go after, brainstorming ideas. In some instances, we can be around for four-legged calls, even in a virtual world. And then lastly, like a Q&A type of question and answer. We know sometimes reps will have questions and maybe it's just easier to ask those questions in a smaller format. That's why we are here. We want to make digital feel super easy and accessible to everyone, especially advertisers who sometimes feel like it's a lot.